went to the other side.
Kick the bucket.
I don't know.
She hit the bugs.
She hit the boots.
She hit the boots.
She hit the road, Jack. Oh no, poor lady.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Miguxas podcast. I'm Rina.
I'm Trisha.
I'm Anna.
And today we're going to discuss the book My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman. Let's go.
I love this book.
That was very direct. I was just gonna say this was our book for the month of November. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for everyone that joined us on Fable to read it.
It was fun.
Yeah, I hope you liked our comments.
Thank you.
So you loved the book, Anna.
I did.
Tell us more about this.
No, I want to hear your side as well. Because I personally love the book. Like Trisha says, it's usually not my type of book, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so fun. I really had a good time.
What was your favorite part about the book?
The grandma and the little girl, them together. I loved it. The fact that they represented minorities.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
But the grandma dies so quickly.
But I was expecting
Spoiler
that.
alert.
The whole review is a spoiler alert. But yes.
Okay, so it's not a spoiler, but be conscious that the grandma will die early in the book. Mm-hmm. Because you thought she was gonna die like at the end of the book.
Yes, I think I expected her to live a little bit longer than only one chapter. That's kind of sad. Like, you're introduced to this character and she's really cool and you're excited to see more of her, and suddenly like, oh, she's dead.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Elsa is like, she didn't wake up again.
Oh, and then I cried.
Yeah.
Okay.
How they explain things, it was really nice.
Grandma passes away quite early, but she's such a great character, and even though she passes away, I feel she never leaves the story. Like, she's always with us.
Yeah, she is.
She's always part of everyone's lives, and
especially the kids.
Yeah, and even though she's not there, she's somehow guiding Elsa the whole time.
It's true.
And what she should do.
And her mom. Her mom also guides her because she has her own instructions to move the car, to do...
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
quite
really
fun.
nice to learn in the end of the book that the mother was also like, she knew that what Elsa was doing.
Exactly.
And you get this, you get this feeling from Elsa that nobody knows what she's doing. Like, she's sending the message to the father and pretending that she's the mother so he doesn't pick her up. And then the father's like, yeah, I knew it was you. The grammar was perfect. And I was like, okay, I feel like all of them knew what she was trying to hide.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
She was like, I'm very mysterious.
Yes.
And in that moment when Dad said, like, oh, you are perfect, I cried so much.
This is I think this was the only part where I actually cried.
Same.
I don't know. I like the development of their
relationship. Same.
Yeah.
Same. Especially because he also has he's also on the spectrum.
Ah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's obsessed with fonts.
I just thought he was quirky.
No, he's very on the spectrum. He's
I think this book represents a lot of people on the spectrum, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't, because it's not like directly stated, I didn't exactly think that he was.
Okay.
But now that you're saying it, it makes sense.
I think he was more than Elsa, because he couldn't really deal with social interactions. He was always like, I don't know how to talk with my daughter, I don't know. He always said, hey, let's do something that you want to do, and she's like, just take me home. And he's like, okay, I don't know how to deal with this situation, and the fonts thing and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different types of people on the spectrum, and that's why also what's the kid's name?
The boy with the syndrome.
No, her name.
Elsa. Like, do you want to build a snowman? Oh, that's Anne.
You can also understand that Elsa's on the spectrum because of her interactions with kids, and she prefers to deal with adults, and that happens a lot with people on the spectrum because they don't identify with the other kids.
I really just thought that she was an eccentric kid. Maybe she liked things that the other kids don't like, and they found a reason to pick on her because of that, So That's
fair.
generally what I thought. Like, for me, the most obvious, let's say, most obvious things were like Wolfheart, because he definitely had OCD.
Yeah.
So that was for me the most obvious thing. And also Brit Marie. Like, there's this part, she's always picking on her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is also a sign, but this was so repetitive that I thought, okay, maybe this means something, like maybe this is important, because she's always like, picking the clothes,
like the brushing off
doing
dust.
Yeah, she's always doing this.
I thought it was a nervous tick,
maybe,
because her life is kind of not a nightmare, but I really wish I didn't have a life like hers.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it is. It is very sad. Yeah. And the fact that you understand that she can only get attention from her husband when she moves stuff. Yeah. When she hides his stuff, because she needs to feel needed. Mm-hmm. From him, you know.
Yeah. When she moved his.
He moved the razor.
Razor.
I think it was a razor.
From the first drawer to the third, and Elsa was like, "Why are you doing that?" Mm-hmm. And she says, "So he can ask me." I don't know. It's so sad.
It is.
She's still annoying though, but
and
I
for sure
didn't like her.
That is the reason. I think you can then see more or less the reason why she does what she does, because it's a way of having something to do with her life, which otherwise
and her mother hated her. Her sister died, and she sort of blames herself because of it, for sure, because the grandma had to choose between her and her sister. And then the first love that she had, the guy cheated on her, even though he was at war, and she waited for him, and then she comes back and he cheated on her with another girl, and then the other guy that she gets also cheats on her.
Like,
poor girl, how can she function?
True. She thinks she doesn't deserve anyone.
Exactly. It's sad. True. Very sad.
But speaking of better things, it's the universe that Elsa and her grandma created.
Mayamas and all the kingdoms.
Yes.
Oh, the land of almost awake.
I loved it. It was so fun, and how you could understand that she grabbed people from their lives and put them in this kingdom,
the storytelling world. Yeah, that was beautiful. I like that. But that's the type of stuff that the grandma would do. I feel she's so cool. I loved her.
She was crazy. I love how she talked to Elsa like she was a grown up. I remember reading when they were at the police station. The beginning of the book, and the grandma asks Elsa for a lighter, and Elsa says, "I'm only 7," and the grandma replies, "How long will you use that as an excuse?"
And then she says, "Well, until I'm no longer 7."
Yeah. It was really funny.
I like their dynamic a lot. And I agree with you. I like the fact that she based all of the stories and people from their real life. And then you see Elsa like making the connections between the stories and real life. Like, I don't know, Brit Marie was the princess and the two princes were fighting for her and stuff like this. And I thought that was also...
I would never have guessed that the princess was Brit Marie.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Poor girl. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I disliked her most of the book, and then when I heard her story, I was like, okay, come on.
But that's what we do in our society, and I think it also represents that.
We judge people before we know their backstory.
Exactly.
And in the beginning, I was asking myself, why does Elsa's mother just lets Brit Marie say whatever she wants? Like, I don't know, she's always like, oh yeah, because you're not...
present.
Yeah, you're not present. Okay, this, she could have a point. But we can go back to this. But like, your house is not clean. Like she said this when she visited. I was like, why does this woman allow Brit Marie to treat her like this? Then I understood that they had like a deeper connection. And
it's not like you're gonna be like, shut up.
No, and I think she also understands why she is the way she is, and she lets it pass.
Yeah, because he means it, but she doesn't mean it, you know? It's how she communicates.
Okay, but now maybe let's talk about the things that we didn't like that much.
Okay.
I can start. I had a little bit of a problem with how cheesy the whole thing was. I knew I was going to expect something like that, but it was a little bit too much. Even though it's told from the perspective of a 7-year-old and all of that, sometimes it got too much for my taste. And I don't know how you think, if it makes sense what I'm saying, but in my perspective, it was just too much storytelling and too much magic.
Okay.
You know, but that's my personal preference.
Okay.
I agree with you. Like, definitely at some point. I find it a bit hard. It's one of those books that I read and there's something that I don't like and I cannot put my finger on it. Like, I cannot understand why. But something was not working for me the whole book, and I think I took like 2 weeks to read the book. Because sometimes I read like 1-2 chapters and I was like, this makes me tired.
It's very repetitive.
Yes, it's very repetitive, and I understand why, because it's a child and she's telling the story and I don't know what. But as a reader, it's a bit frustrating. Yeah, and it's definitely too cheesy, and
I kind of expected it because it's those type of books that want to make you cry and see things from this magical perspective, and I understand. But there was another thing about the writing. He said so many times, he scratched his nose like someone who is nervous scratches his nose. Like, he used this formulation 100 times. And in the beginning I was like, oh, this is really clever. This is really nice. Maybe this is how Elsa sees the world, because she's a little bit, you know, on the spectrum and she takes a while to understand, or I don't know. But I really liked it in the beginning, and then it was just so repetitive. Every time I heard, I listened to the audiobook. Every time I heard it, I was like, okay, no, I can't hear that again enough. Use another formulation to describe what she's seeing, please.
But she does this quite a lot. With everything.
Yes.
Like, there are certain expressions that she repeats a lot.
I don't personally agree with not liking, because I did enjoy those things. I really liked the fact that the author wrote it that way.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's exactly how you said it. It's her realizing what's going on and taking time to process the world. You know, it's her thought process.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was just tired of seeing that formulation again and again. It's this thing of like, show me, don't tell me. And for a while it was cool and a nice way to put it, but then at the end I was just like, okay, just show me and don't tell me all the time that that person is nervous or is sad or whatever.
The way I see it, it's I understand why, but doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I understand everything, every choice of words, or how the balance between fantasy and reality is happening, because she's a child, but doesn't mean that I actually appreciate it. And I think that's what happened, like, most of the times, to be honest. It was a bit boring for me.
I agree. And I felt like the book could have been a bit shorter.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, right?
That's true.
Yeah, so it was a little bit dragged. But it was nice. I feel like if I had read this book at a time in which I had more free time, I would have enjoyed it more. But I had a lot to do and I was listening to the audiobook, and sometimes I was like, I feel like I heard this before. I feel like I've heard this story before, these formulations, or so I'm not sure. I can also not exactly tell what was the thing that I didn't like about the book, but there was definitely a few things that made me reconsider my review or my rating. Because in the beginning I thought I was going to give it 5 stars. It's the type of book that I like. A little bit philosophical, characters are a bit quirky, and it's beautifully written. Usually that's a 5 star for me, but then it just kind of got a bit too much.
I agree. I guess until like 30 or 40%. Then I was like, like, just move on, like, make the action happen. Yeah, I agree. If we can compare, I also liked it was about the story is their lives, you know, like the book we read before. And I like this, but in this case it was it was just a bit too much, to be honest.
But about the characters, all of them were very deep, all of them were very complex, and I love that.